Hey all you cool cats and kittens. Just kidding. Okay, guys, welcome back to a Love Across the Hudson story time video. We know it's been a while. All right, let's get over that. We're back, we're ready. This is our quarantine story time, so I'm gonna let Nate start it off first because I feel like before you got here you were actually in the midst of everything.
Yeah, big time. So as you guys know, we live in Westchester, New York, in New York, and Westchester started to get their first case of coronavirus. And with the first case of coronavirus, I kind of witnessed like the panic around the neighborhood. And she was in Los Angeles at the time filming her TV show, Saved by the Bell. We didn't update you guys on that. So we'll make a story time on rebooking Saved by the Bell, the reboot. But yeah, she was filming and I was like texting Ree like, I think things are gonna get crazy here because, you know, there's a first case of coronavirus in the neighborhood. And then after that, you heard the person that took the guy that had coronavirus catch coronavirus himself, and then his whole family had it, and then the neighbor's whole family had it, and it started to spread little by little. And I was like, okay, I got a feeling I gotta get out of here. So immediately.
So like throughout that whole process, like since I was on set all day, I was hardly on my phone. So whenever I did get on my phone, it was like, okay, what's the next steps to like me going over there? Are you gonna come here? Like he was telling me like how bad it was over there. I kept getting phone calls from my dad like, you know, it's bad over here. I don't even think it's worth you coming. Like you should just have Nate fly over there. It would be best for him. And there was a lot of things that we had to take into consideration to like even get him here. Was it like, is it even worth him getting on a plane during this time? Because we don't know how bad the virus is really getting. And if he does come on the plane, is he like gonna make me sick, you know? Because they said that people don't get a lot of symptoms. So we weren't sure, you know, it was just a very like blur and everything was happening so fast. But we realized like, you know what? If any of us get sick, well, he was really saying like if any of us got sick, it's better to be together because we can move around and help each other out versus us being apart and one of us getting sick and not having the help. So here in LA, it wasn't as bad, I feel, as in New York, or at least they weren't sending out a lot of reports based in the LA area that I'm living at. So I said, you know what, it's best for him to come here. So when he got here, we were able to get a rental car because his car is back in New York, which is crazy because in LA you need a car.
You
like
need a car,
how helpful was like the rental car?
It was big time helpful. And when I got on the plane, it was like empty. Oh yeah. And we had to put Milo on the plane. So that's what we had to do. So like when we were going through this and I was talking to her, we already only had a certain amount of time to talk over these last couple months due to her filming so aggressively. So when I got to talk to her, I was kind of like not in a panic, but like in a rush. Like, look, we got to make a plan because I got a feeling they're going to shut New York down. Yeah. Now, this is only when it was taken over in Westchester, nowhere else. And
and Westchester, just to give you like a gist, Westchester is pretty close to New Rochelle, and New Rochelle had like one of the highest cases.
New Rochelle is Westchester.
Okay, so New Rochelle.
New Rochelle is Westchester County. Yeah. Westchester is a county, and New Rochelle is in Westchester County, and we live the 2 towns over from New Rochelle. So we live 15 minutes. Certain angles we can get into New Rochelle in 7 minutes. Right. So
like that's how close. And New Rochelle had like one of the highest cases at a certain point. So that's how close he was to like the virus technically. Like any little like misstep or like him not following protocol that they were saying, he could have gotten it. But it was really crazy. Like I remember he called me, he's like, Whole Foods closing. It was like 5, 6 p.m. in New York. And bad. Whole Foods closes at 10. So I was like, okay, no, these are like real bad signs. You got to get down here. So
in the midst of all that, I was already predicting that I was going to lose my job because I worked with the gym in Mamaroneck and Westchester, and I was a head trainer there, and I already knew, you know, clients were going to stop coming in, and I thank God I made my own business, Dream Fit. And last summer, you know, working on Dream Fit, right? Because the gym is closed, you know, and like, I had to accept so much. I had to accept leaving my apartment, leaving my car, taking the dog. When we took the dog to the airport, it was a disgusting rainy day.
Yeah, and it was like he got on the 5 a.m. flight.
Yeah.
So if you want to, like, just a heads up for anybody that has a dog that's like over 20 pounds, you're most likely gonna have to put your dog in cargo if they're not a service dog. So he has, when you put your dog in cargo, you have to get there like 3 hours in advance, 3 to 2 hours in advance, because that process, I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. It's the worst process, and it takes forever.
Yeah.
And it's a very stressful situation. And then given the fact that he had to wake up super early, he had to go in the rain, it was just like insane. And when he got there, he called me. So we're 3 hours, there's a 3-hour difference from New York and LA. So when he called me, it was like 1 a.m. here. What time was it?
Yeah,
it
was bad.
It was like 1 a.m. here.
Yeah. I had to call you.
You called me because they were like, oh, he's not in the system. Like Milo wasn't in the system, and he was. And I was just like, these people are just trying to give you, like, I don't know, some kind of problem. They're just not trying to take their job too seriously. I don't know what it was, but he had me on the phone, and I was like, oh, this is insane. Like, it was just like that whole process. We've never had like a smooth sailing when we have to put Milo on the plane. So, you know, having all that already, plus the virus and people trying to like keep their distance and afraid to touch things, it was just hard. And especially with an animal, like, people already think animals are disgusting. Like, certain people think animals are nasty. So it was just like a lot to deal with. And then when he got,
it was a lot, yeah. And then when you get on the plane, people are looking at you like, why are you getting on the plane right now?
Right.
Because this is when it's still scary, but this is when it starts to, like, people start to get more aware of it. And the airport was so empty. I got on the airplane with 12 people. Like, only 12 people. Like, I had the middle of the plane to myself. And getting on the plane, I was a little nervous because I'm like, hopefully the pilot takes this flight serious. You know, you start getting all these crazy thoughts, but the flight was excellent. I landed, I got the rental car, and then I came with the dog and a rental car and a suitcase. And on my mind, I'm like, okay, this is the first week when New York was going through this. I'm like, I think that, you know, the gym's gonna close. I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna lose my income. I'm gonna lose, you know, on top of all this happens in March, 2 weeks ago, at the end of March. Our lease in Mamaroneck is up in April, this month right now. So I'm already thinking, how am I gonna go back to New York and move out the apartment? How am I gonna get my car? How am I gonna get all my furniture? How am I gonna get my clothes? And you have all these thoughts going through your head. Then you're like, okay, this disease is attacking people with weak immune systems. If you guys don't know, my parents are both drug addicts, and you know, they're recovering, you know, from their addicts. They're recovering addicts, and their immune systems are done. So I'm like, should I be over there taking care of my parents? You know, and you're just playing these scenarios, and they're like, well, maybe I should be here with Reed just in case she gets sick, or if I get sick, we're with each other. And then putting up money to rent a car for 2 weeks where you just paid your car bill, right? You just paid your car bill. You're paying your finances for your car, your insurance for your car, and your rent, and then you're paying, you know, and not knowing when you're gonna make another another dollar. It's very stressful.
Yeah, and it's stressful, especially because, like, as you all know, no one is really trying to spend any money because you don't know when your next paycheck is gonna come in, because a lot of people have been unemployed because of this. So it's like, I'm thankful to be in a position where we're both, like, luckily we had a certain income prior to all this happening, and we saved up, because if not, we would have been like done. Like, there's no doubt about it, we would have had to sell probably everything we've owned to, like, probably make rent over there. And because the rent here is insane, like, this doesn't stop. Like, due to all this, we still had to pay rent. We still had to, like, Milo thing was already $350 from the get, and we knew, like, we can't leave our dog. You know, that doesn't include, like, our own food. That doesn't include the gas for the rental car. That doesn't include, like, just, like, food for Milo.
That doesn't include paying rent in 2 apartments. In 2 different cars. One for the rental, one for our car in New York. Our phone bill, it's expensive.
Just a lot of things, and it's crazy because it hit all around that time of the month where it's like everything is getting taken out, and you just can't stop it, which is crazy.
And listen, let me just say this now. There's people that have it so worse. We know that. We're only telling you what we're experiencing, what we're going through. You're going through your own thing, and others are going through worse, right? We're just sharing our experience. So I don't want you thinking that we're complaining. We're just like, yo, this is crazy. But, you know, it could be worse, so thank God, you know? But, you know...
But, like, really quickly, like, even after all of that, it's like, we had the rental car, and luckily he was able to extend it for a couple days. But today was our last day with the rental car, guys. Like, it's insane because we don't have like, we're just unsure if it's worth it to extend the rental car a little bit longer and spend that extra money, or save that money and then God forbid we have to like travel back to New York, we have the funds to do so, or have to put Milo in a daycare somewhere so that we can fly back. Like there's just so many things like he said, so many scenarios that go through our heads, and we're just like trying to take it one day at a time, because it does get very stressful. And it's just like, it's just been insane, like the whole process. But like, I'm just so thankful that he was able to get here before everything got really shut down, because if things got bad in Westchester, I don't think he would have even decided to come here, because he would have been like, not afraid to fly, but he would have been like, there's no point at this like moment in time. It's not worth the risk of like flying when things are at its highest peak. Like it's just no. Yeah, things just started taking off. Yeah. Right before I left. And now, like I said, we have to decide on it's April, like what, 3rd or 4th today. We got to decide on how we're gonna move out of an apartment while we're in Los Angeles. Our apartment is like, I just paid our rent in New York, and we got to move out of that apartment. I got to figure out how to get my car over here. I got to figure out making a career over here. I got to figure out all these different things. But one thing that I was able to do, I was able to take most of my clients remotely. Not most of them, I say 25% of people. And put them on remote training, and it's going phenomenal, you know. So I was able to do that. I was able to have my own business where I had cash flow going in that, and that's able to still have something going. But other than that, I lost 75% of my income, you know. And like production stopped for me, so it's like. So she was filming. So I was filming, and in the process of filming, like. We have a couple more episodes to shoot, but it was like 2 days before the weekend, and we were finishing up that episode we were working on, and our executive producer comes in and he sits us all down and he's like, hey guys, like today and tomorrow is gonna be our last day of filming. Like it was just like that in between like shooting, you know, like you have a scene to do, right? Like 5 seconds after that conversation, you're just like, oh snap, like what does that mean for the show? Like is it gonna continue or is it not? Like there's just a lot of questions that were going through our heads. So it was like I was dealing with that, he was dealing with his own issues, and it was just a bunch of stuff that was going on. And then in between we was dealing with what we'll make a video on. We were dealing with the long distance separation that we had. A lot of things, we made Love Across the Hudson because we started a long distance relationship, and then 4 years go by, we do that, and then on our 5th year of dating each other, we get hit with another long distance, but now it's across the country rather than being 3 hours away. And we started to go through some struggles. We weren't communicating the right way, or miscommunication happened, right? Not communicating the right way. And you know, it's just in 3 hours behind, days are different. When it's 10 o'clock where I'm at and 7 o'clock here, I'm ready to go to bed and she's just making dinner. We're on 2 different energies, you know what I'm saying? So that was a big struggle we was already going through, and already life questions that I already had in my personal life. Like, do I move to LA in the future? It was a lot of stuff, but we're happy to be here, and we only want to make videos when we have things to share with you and experiences. Other than that, we're not going to just make that's why a lot of
challenge videos and stuff. That's not.
Even
it's
though
fun,
I
but
do some challenge videos.
Yeah, it's fun, but we just don't really have the time to sit here and be consistent doing these challenge videos and stuff. But we have time now, kinda, to make a video. We also want to make a video on our routine. So what routine, you could probably copy the routine that we have that keeps us busy, like literally all day. It keeps us busy and sane. So we can probably film that like right after this. Like we just like there's stuff to do, but there's really not much stuff that you could do. Like I can't really go out to Universal Studios and hang out, you know what I mean? Like we can't just like take a casual stroll, because you got to be very careful where you walk through, because people will get kind of crazy. Yeah, it's just a lot of things. But that was our story time. I want to hear your stories. Like, did you go through any of this, or do you know anybody that has corona? Thankfully, I don't know anybody personally that has it, so I'm thankful for that. But every day you just never know. There's always you just never know about tomorrow, so it's really insane. So stay safe, stay sane, stay indoors as much as you can, I guess, and move when you can, when you get the opportunity. And if you're still here, I made a podcast called Be Great with Nate. It's on Spotify. I will leave it in the description below. If you don't have Spotify, you can go on my platform and listen to it with no, you don't need Spotify, nothing like that. You just press play. And I made an episode on how to stay positive during this time.
And it's really good, so go take a listen. It'll help you, and if it helped you, make sure to share it, because I'm sure it can help somebody else. I mean, we're all home, we're reading books, we're watching TV, we're trying to listen to stuff, so just trying to get our minds right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We will.
Yeah.
See you in the next video.
Peace.